Our keynote speaker, Ms. Felicia Davis, is a wonderful example of someone who has embraced the idea that no challenge is insurmountable, that no idea is too complex. Ms. Davis is a Kendall alumna who is an honors student and student commencement speaker, as well as former administrator at Kendall. She worked as executive director of public engagement and first deputy chief of staff under Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and is the interim president at Olive Harvey Community College. She, like all of you, is Kendall's legacy. It is my honor and privilege to welcome back Miss Felicia Davis.
Good afternoon, everyone. President Lasso, Vice President Bartolome, Board of Directors, staff, faculty, family, friends, thank you for the invitation to speak here today. This really, for me, is a full circle moment in my life. 17 years ago, my journey with Kendall College began, and I am so deeply honored to be here with you today, the class of 2018. And to the class of Kendall College class of 2018, congratulations. So this might not be the graduation day that we see in Hollywood movies, right? You've seen them. I don't see any beach balls rolling around out in the crowd. And I hope nobody's wearing flip-flops, mostly because it's raining, but also because I'm a mom and, you know. I doubt anyone is worried about missing a keg party. Maybe you are later, I don't know. There's probably a few of you who are worried that I'll speak too long, that you'll miss something else really important, like your daughter's soccer game or your son's recital, maybe your prom send-off, most importantly, your restaurant reservations. I promise not to keep you too long. This is a great day. It's a great day in your individual lives, that of your families, and the life of this great city, and the life of this great institution. I'm honored to be speaking here today, and like you, I chose Kendall College some years ago to continue my own education. With this 82nd commencement, we are part of a great tradition and a long line of Kendall College graduates. Looking at your faces, I can see that the spirit of achievement, responsibility, and service that have been a part of this institution since its inception in 1934 are still alive and well. Having received the invitation to speak, of course I wanted to do a good job. I mean, many of these people on stage taught me a lot of what I know and instilled in me, and so I couldn't let them down. So I asked family and friends for suggestions of what I should say to you graduates today. Their collective wisdom was, Felicia, you have to be eloquent because you'll be standing on the grand stage of Symphony Center. You have to be funny because this is a day of celebration, and really, nobody likes not funny. You have to be intellectual because this is a historic institution, and you are a graduate, and you have to make them proud. You have to be inspirational because they will remember this day for the rest of their lives, or at least pieces of it, I guess. Most importantly of all was the advice from my youngest son, Caleb, who is here. He's 17. He was still a nursing infant when I started Kendall College those many years ago. And he said, at all costs, whatever you do, Mom, just don't mess up. So with those comforting words, I did everything, I did what you guys would do. When you have a big paper or a big project to write, to prepare for, big final exam, I gave myself plenty of time. I hunkered down, I made an outline, I did some reflection, I did some research, and then I scrambled to meet a deadline. Yes, I am sure some of you have scrambled to meet a few deadlines of your own. But this day, this glorious day, is a result of years of preparation and hard work. You earned your degree. You deserve your diploma. But you also know that your work was only part of the equation. None of you, and none of us, arrive here today on our own, whether it was a parent or a mentor or a role model. You are here today because people invested in your potential. Many of you have had to balance studying with work and family. Some of you come back to school after several years away, and I've been there. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for me as a mother of actually 6, 5 biological children and a foster child at the time. And I can tell you that it hasn't been easy for your families. That's time away from home. Those are things that you've missed. Those are dinners that have been rushed or, substandard takeout every now and then, but not too much. By choosing Kendall College, chances are you've also chosen a profession where you can pay their investment forward. But as my mother and my grandmother reminded me as a girl growing up on the south side of Chicago, it's not just the people that you know who sacrificed for your success. Even before you were born, there were those who fought for your seat at this school, in this society, and in this city. So, this is participation, grads. Let's first give a hand to the families that are here today, to your moms and your dads, grandparents, partners. So moms and dad, grandparents, partners, spouses, aunts, uncles, cousins, babysitters, sons, daughters, all of you present. And we also honor those who are not present, but who are looking over us in spirit, because they guided you, they supported you, they may have even pushed you now and again, lovingly, of course, but they always, always believed in you. Your diploma represents not so much of what you can expect of your future, though you can expect much. Rather, it represents a down payment. With your diploma and with this day, you can begin to repay all that you have been given. That's why they call this ceremony a commencement. The ceremony marks far more of a beginning than it does an end. You've probably heard it before. To that which much is given, much is required. Some of you have maybe heard that or read that in the Bible, in Scripture. Others probably heard President John F. Kennedy paraphrase those words. But wherever you heard them, it is because people lived the lesson on your behalf that you are here today. I remember some of the many lessons that I've learned, some at Kendall College. Mise en place to this day is do or die. I remember it's either good or it's ne'er. I remember learning cost accounting. I remember the staff and faculty who poured into me as a student and who helped me to grow and become a better version of myself. And I continue on that path every day. But one of the most important lessons came from my own mother, when she took me to classes with her when I was just a little girl. I remember the class not because of anything that the teacher said, but what my mother taught me by her example. You see, my mother dropped out of high school when she became pregnant with me, and she didn't go back for a very long time until she was the mother of 4 children, and I'm the oldest of those 4 children. I have 2 sisters and a brother after me. And my mother, like many mothers do, like I do to my own kids today, instilled and talked a great deal about education and about grades and about focus and about preservation. And education was the foremost thing that my mother talked about. This class that my mother took me to was part of her coursework at Olive Harvey College to get her GED. Unquestionably, Olive Harvey College, the programs, and its people have changed the trajectory and lives of my family and I many years ago. And today I serve as the interim president of the very institution where my mom was an adult basic education learner, where she earned her GED, where she said, if I tell you that education is important, then I have to show you. It has been my honor to add to the rich legacy of this community college, the college whose impact is still reverberating through me, my children, and eventually their children. You see, my mother was never content just to talk about the value of education. With the sacrifices she made to continue her own education, she showed me how important it was. At the time, she was likely unaware of the ripple effect that her decision would have for generations. I eventually became a mother who took my children to class with me, who showed them the example that life is never too busy or complicated for you to pursue your dreams and do what's truly, truly important. Because of my mother's commitment to me, I've had opportunities she never had and could never have imagined. Of course, I want to provide my own children even greater opportunities. But no matter what I provide them, I know there is no greater lesson that I can give them than the one that my mom gave to me. This week, I and perhaps all of us are reminded that there is no better foundation for a child than the love of a parent. That love is impossible for anyone to replace. Not every child growing up in Chicago or our society today is so lucky. Too few children have access to the education and the opportunities and the options afforded to many of us present here in this great hall today. With that, I want to talk to you a little bit about overcoming adversity, living a life of service, and creating a lasting legacy, and I won't be long. The wise father of a dear friend told her something that she shared with me. He said, some days the sun shines on you, and some days it rains. For the prayer warriors in the room, and I come from a Christian Baptist tradition, Scripture tells us that to everything there is a season. And I will put it another way, for the 80s R&B fans in the room, like myself, the group New Edition asked, can you stand the rain? Right, y'all remember? Sunny days, everybody loves them, but tell me, can you stand the rain? Now, none of those folks were referring to the current rain we're facing in Chicago, right? But rather, the constant in life that we all will face adversity. Adversity is inevitable, but difficulties or misfortunes don't have to keep you from achieving your intended goals and finding the happiness you seek in business and in life. It's how you overcome these adversities that can make all the difference. In many ways, as I reflect upon my own challenging childhood and some of the adversities that I have overcome, I've thought often that the distance that I've traveled from growing up as a poor girl on the far south side of Chicago can't be measured in miles. Prominent American educator Booker T. Washington put it this way when he said, success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life, as by the obstacles which he or she has overcome. Every challenge that we successfully conquer strengthens not only our will, but our confidence, and therefore our ability to confront future obstacles. Earlier, I spoke about my mother and her focus on education. Education was important to her because motherhood was important to her. And in the way in which she made motherhood her highest calling each and every day, she showed me something essential about service, selflessness, and giving yourselves to others. Service isn't about a lofty degree or a title. And I should repeat that. It is not about a title or a lofty degree. There is an African proverb which, loosely translated, asserts, I am because we are, and because we are, therefore I am. I learned this type of responsibility to and for others at a very young age, when it was instilled in me and my siblings, this sense of collective well-being. My husband and I teach our children that they each have a higher purpose and calling and have been charged with a duty to help humanity. We have those conversations at the dinner table. I tell them quite often, you need to go into the world, spread your wings, get your education, gain some experiences, and you are coming back to the South Side of Chicago. Because the people and the places here, and I'm sure they don't like when I tell them this, poured into you. These communities, these people poured into you, and we have an obligation. Our lives are not just about the things that we can accomplish and gather for ourselves. It's about a duty and seeking to enhance the life of others. Over the whole of my career, I've held many positions, lots of titles. I've worked for a mayor, I've worked for our former president when he was a state senator, when he was US Senator. The common thread running through each of these assignments or appointments is service. Throughout my professional career, I've worked in a wide range of environments with diverse populations. For nearly 2 decades, I have served the residents of Chicago in various roles. Many years ago, as a young patrol officer in Englewood, I witnessed others coping with some of the same hardships that I had faced as a child, and adopted as a personal duty the task of helping those families find the resources they needed. Conversely, I've also dealt with persons for whom the lack of education, support, and other resources have visited insurmountable repercussions. And I understand the jeopardy that we face as a society if we fail at providing a supportive environment to all of our families. My work in education is focused on breaking down barriers, creating access, and helping students make the most of their educational opportunities. Service doesn't have anything to do with status, again. No matter the gifts we have all been given, who we are, where we are, each one of us can serve. Each of us can create opportunities for those who come after us. Our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, was here in Chicago many years ago when I worked in the mayor's office. The topic at the time was about gun violence, and it was on the occasion of the death of Hadia Pimpleton, a young teenage girl, King High School college prep student who was killed. And Mrs. Obama said, the challenge for each of us is that when we walk through the door of opportunity, do we let that door close, or do we reach back through that door and grab the hand of someone else and pull them through the door? So the last thing I want to talk to you about is legacy, because that's a good starting point for legacy. I am a living legacy. Each of you is also a living legacy. But my question to you is, what will your lasting legacy be? Not your accolades. I know that each of you brought a dream with you to Kendall College. You have nurtured that dream. Perhaps some of you haven't even shared it with anyone. When I came, the original impetus, the thing that brought me to Kendall College in the first place, I was on the Chicago Police Department. I was on leave of absence, raising this growing family, and I wanted to own a B&B. And the internet was still kind of new. I know y'all can't believe that. And I saw that Kendall College had a program around bed and breakfast certification. And I went up there, and I was welcomed. I'll never forget Christian DeVos, the dean at the time, and his hearty welcome. He was, kind of right there. I'll never forget the small campus in Evanston, and mostly what I will never forget is the feeling of family that enveloped me at the institution. So I stayed for a long time as a student, as a member of staff and administrator. So you all have a dream. You want to be the next great hospitality scion, a future Golden Apple Award-winning teacher, future James Beard Award-winning chef, the next Food TV network star perhaps, or maybe you want to create a startup that leads to a wildly successful IPO. But those things, as great as they are, and we all want you to have them, are not unto themselves your legacy. Your legacy will unquestionably be the impact that you will have on the lives of others. Without question, we each also bear witness and carry a part of the Kendall College legacy, an institution created at the height of the Great Depression with the focus on providing education to young people who cannot otherwise afford to go to college except through the distinctive work-study program that was offered at the new school. Throughout its history, the institution has changed names, Evanston Collegiate Institute, changed or expanded its programs, nursing, human services, do you all remember those? Adding culinary arts and other programs, seeking bachelor's degrees or offering bachelor's degrees. Changed locations, Evanston and Goose Island or Riverworks, and around the world, but always steadfast in its legacy, focused on service, access, and innovation to inspire and nurture student passions for creativity. I see a lot of creativity on the hats here today. Professionalism, leadership, excellence, and success. I am certain, without a doubt, that this tradition will continue. In closing, I want to share some personal reflections. A few years ago, I was required to write a personal mission statement. This was at the conclusion of a year-long fellowship that I had with Leadership Greater Chicago. It's a big training program in Chicago that brings leaders from across sectors to focus on a lot of the big intractable problems in the city. So it cross-pollinates people from finance and public sector and healthcare and lots of other fields. And preparing for this, reading this mission statement, I took a moment to really reflect upon my life and where I was and what I wanted. And the question became, what would I want my own legacy to be? So my statement read in part, I endeavor to live each day with integrity, enthusiasm, love, joy, curiosity, purpose, gratitude, and forgiveness. To be known as someone who lived a full life, loved her family, loved her community, and made a difference in the lives of others. And I will honor those who have paved the way for me by paying it forward. I strive each day to make someone else's life brighter tomorrow because of the work that I do today. So with that, congratulations on all you have already achieved. I've given you some really, really big marching orders. When you hang that diploma on your wall, remember the drive that led you to your degree. But never forget the debt that you owe. The moment you walk across the stage, the opportunities you receive become your obligations. The lessons you learned at Kendall College are now a legacy that each of you carry forward. I look forward to following you all, because it's easier now with social media, in your future success. Congratulations, class of 2018, and thank you so much.